What, might you ask, can China do to America? Blockade Taiwan, dump U.S. assets and treasury bills, launch massive cyber attacks, and or randomly block the United States supply chain. Probably also arrest a bunch of American citizens in China. That's just off the top of my head. With us now, Steve Yates, who knows a lot more about China than I do, than almost anyone does. Senior Research Fellow on China, National Security Policy at the Heritage Foundation, Asian Studies Center, former Deputy National Security Advisor for the Bush administration. Good to see you, sir. Thank you. The court has accepted you as an expert. If Trump is intent on taking on China, I hypothesize that today, the past week, will just be the very, very beginning. Fair analysis?
It is. The only thing I would add to the frame is that for a long time, we tend to look, for maybe good reason, at the American inputs into this equation. And I would argue the most strategic shift, most important strategic shift of the last 20 years is the rise of Xi Jinping and his different direction he's taken the Chinese Communist Party. For most of his predecessors, they would bide their time and hide their strengths. For Xi's tenure, the fangs are out with the open smile. They've done things that are very aggressive to their neighbors. They've been much more aggressive with the United States. We've had the era not just of hollowing out of economies, but territorial claims of expansion. We've had funny spy balloons and not so funny things like COVID and fentanyl, where right. China doesn't take any accountability. So we're dealing with a different China, and they have their calculus. Xi has picked fights he didn't need to pick, like crushing Hong Kong. As you mentioned, the encirclement of Taiwan, pretty much all Taiwan's done for the last 30 years is invest in China, and it's been major fuel for that economic expansion. So this is the part where Trump has stepped in. The World Trade Organization has not moderated China's trade behavior. The international system, people refer to the rules-based international order, it hasn't moderated any of these other activities. And so Trump is doing something different. He's using the leverage we have, access to our consumer market. It's big, it's risky, it's going to be a big change.
Yeah, and the risk is just beginning. A lot there, phenomenal analysis. One thing that Donald Trump said today is that he doesn't blame China. China wants to be on the same level as the United States. They want to be seen as a superpower. They want to, as you say, have fangs, but they want to have tentacles all around the world. They've been able to continue to rise over 20 years under Xi Jinping. You point that out. Donald Trump says he actually doesn't blame China for that. Take a listen.
I don't blame China for what happened. I blame the people sitting right at this desk, right behind this desk or another desk. You get your choice of 7. I happen to pick the Resolute. But I blame the people sitting behind in this chair, behind this desk, for being stupid, incompetent, or not having courage. This should have been done years ago. This should have been done before Obama, in all fairness.
Now, before Obama was your boss, George W. Bush. That shot aside, because weakness towards China has been a bipartisan issue in America, who now has the upper hand, Xi Jinping or Donald Trump?
Well, Xi Jinping has to decide how far he wants to go to wreck things. Donald Trump has the upper hand in the sense that if you just look over the last week, 70-plus heads of government are approaching the United States to negotiate terms more favorable probably to the United States. Among that coalition is every big economy in the world except for China's. China's went in the other direction. And the more that Xi took on retaliation instead of negotiation, while he's taking on these big territorial aggressive claims, while there hasn't been accountability in other areas, while there's been alleged dumping in the European market and other areas, China's not exactly winning friends and influencing people. People can talk about the tactics of Trump, but if you just look at the fruits of the last week, I might not have chosen this path, but we're in a better place now than we were before in getting a coalition of the willing to move in a direction outside of the World Trade Organization where we might protect.
Is this just about trade, though? Or is this, can you use trade to end the thuggery, the stealing, the cheating, the torturing of their own people?
It's a rebalancing of power in the world. It was a choice by the West, led by the United States, to invest trillions of dollars and give concessionary lending, allow pretty permissive transfer of technology under the theory that China would grow and develop and modernize, our differences would narrow, our areas of cooperation would expand. It's kind of the bet. It was summarized by Deputy Secretary Bob Zoellick during the late Bush administration as this concept of responsible stakeholdership. But the opposite is what has happened, and now that's why we're having to break. And so I was a part of that consensus in the 90s and the early 2000s. I argued for the bet. I think the sin is of ignoring the evidence. And I agree with President Trump. The evidence in the recent few decades is overwhelming that we have to go in a different direction. And China has driven that.
Steve, I got to tell you, this is some of the most cogent thoughts I have had on China in 7 minutes of television in a very long time. We're grateful, and given what's happening with China, we're going to rely on your expertise going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leland. Pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.